Hiroshi Ishiguro. I'm a professor of Osaka University and visiting director of ATR Hiroshi Ishiguro Laboratories. In the near future, we want to create human-robot symbiotic society, especially in Japan. As shown in this picture, the robots and humans are working together. They're actually robots supporting human activities in a daily life. So, in Japan, our population going down to the half of our current population. Therefore, it's quite important to have help from the robot. It's quite important to have this kind of human-robot symbiotic society. So in order to develop that human-robot symbiotic society, I have started a robot project in 2000. And I have spent almost 22 years for developing these human-like robots and very human-like robots. Okay. The very human-like robot is called Android. So this is the my Android, and I believe everybody knows this Android, which is my copy. So why do we need humanoid robots or very human-like robots? So my answer is like this. Humans have a brain that recognizes humans. Therefore, the ideal interface for human is a human. And therefore, the information media devices, such as talking rice cookers, should be at least partially human-like. And conversely, to understand humans, human-like robots are needed. Okay. So this is our basic approach, and this is a very unique approach comparing with other research areas in science and engineering. So we call this approach constructive science with intelligent systems. Past brain studies have found that human intelligence comprises elements of memories, computations, inference, learning, etc. The challenge is to identify how these elements can be put together for realizing human intelligence. The constructive approach will reconstruct robots and androids to model humans, and use such robots and androids to study human macro-level or meta-level functions. If I simply say, we create intelligent robots, and by using that intelligent robots, we investigate the cognitive or neural function of humans. And once we got new knowledge about humans in cognitive science and neuroscience, we use that knowledge for improving the intelligent robots. So this picture shows progress of robot technologies and human science. We have focused on these elements in our past studies. We have developed the mechanics for the robots and manipulators, sensors, and recently we have developed the image understanding functions and the voice recognition functions by using a deep learning. The next important challenge is to study about the meta-level, macro-level cognitive functions such as intelligence, embodiment, multimodal integration, intention and desires, and consciousness and social relationships. So now we are using a lot of artificial intelligence technologies, but current AI technologies are very much different from real human intelligence. Okay, for example, in order to recognize cat, right? Artificial intelligence requires more than 100,000 pictures, but humans, we do not need to have a huge number of pictures for recognizing cat. If we have maybe just 10 pictures, we can quickly recognize the cat. Okay. So that means human brain function is very much different from current AI technologies. Therefore, we need to deeply study about the human-like intelligence after this. Embodiment means meaning of a body. We have a body. Because of the body, we can have an experience. Without bodies, it's quite difficult to have a real experience and to learn something. So that is embodiment. So far, we just focus on the artificial intelligence, but after this, we need to combine artificial intelligence and artificial bodies. Okay. And the multimodal integration. Multimodal integration is quite natural as a human. Now I'm talking and watching, I'm touching to the computer. Okay, I'm using various ways for the interactions, for communicating with everybody. So this is the multimodal integration. We just focus on the voice recognition or image recognition in the previous works, but after this, we need to integrate all modalities. The robots, AI, need to recognize voice, image, gestures, facial expressions, gazing directions, everything simultaneously. And then intention desires. We expect to have more autonomous, intelligent robots in our futures. But such robots need to have own intentional desires to decide their own task. Okay. Of course, we humans, we have an intentional desire, right? And we are autonomous. But if we expect to have an autonomous robot, we need to give an intentional desire to the robot. And the consciousness. So if robot could have an intentional desires, probably we may feel consciousness through the interaction with the robots. We don't know what consciousness is, but the next decade, researchers are going to deeply study about the consciousness. So consciousness is one of the very important topics in AI and robotics. And then once we could feel the consciousness through the interaction with the robot, we may have a social relationships with the robot and AI. So anyway, we need to focus on these meta-level cognitive functions, and we need to make the robot more human-like. And this is the roadmap for developing the robot. Now we are focusing on the a robot which has a single human-like functions like language teacher robots and order-taking robots at restaurants. But after this, of course, we're going to improve the robot function more and more, and we're going to give more human-like function to the robots. And someday we may realize companion robots that can help our daily activities. These are examples of the robots we have developed so far. We have developed the language teacher robots and order-taking robot at restaurants and the conversational robot for elderly and the receptionist robot. These robots are not perfect, but on the other hand, these are practical already. Again, this is the relationships between science and robot development. Intelligence, embodiment, multimodal integration, these are fundamentals. Once we could implement intention desire to the robot, we may feel the consciousness through the interaction with the robot, and then we may accept the robot as partners in society. We may have a social relationships with the robot. Then the robot can be our partners robots or companion robots that can pass the multimodal Turing test. So what multimodal Turing test is? The multimodal Turing test, this is a scientific and engineering goal. Multimodal Turing test is to compare between a robot manipulated by human operators and an autonomous robots controlled by a developed technology. One of the important challenges in an intelligent robot is to pass the multimodal Turing test, and it evaluates the total human likeness through all of the modalities, and it evaluates the social acceptance as a member of a society. So this picture shows the multimodal Turing test. As you know, Turing test is to compare two conditions. One is the chatbot operated by human operators, and the other is the chatbot controlled by AI. So if we cannot compare, if we cannot distinguish which is which, that means the AI could have human level intelligence. So in this case, we are comparing the robots teleoperated by human operators and the robots controlled by AI. If interlocutors couldn't distinguish which is which is the teleoperated, which is autonomous. Okay, so if we cannot distinguish which is which, that means a robot could have a human level intelligence. So this is the multimodal Turing test, and this is our research goal. So let me talk about the conversational functions based on intention desire. And intention desire, so we consider intention desire causes the emotions and the consciousness of the robot, and the robot can be really human-like with them. Therefore, this is very important. So our challenge is how we can implement intention and desire to the robot, and how we can make the robot more human-like. And actually, human intention desire is so complicated. This is the conceptual architectures of a human intention desire. So it's quite difficult to follow this architecture. Therefore, we made it simple, and so our idea is like this. Desire decide the intention. Intention desire the behavior network, okay, behavior sequence. So roughly speaking, as humans, we are doing similar things. So based on this very simplified the intention desires, we have implemented intention desire to the Android. And this is the systems we have developed, and that Android system consists of many complicated functions. Especially the interaction composer is very important. That is the key technologies for realizing a human-like robot. So this is a programming environment. Okay, so we have developed this graphical programming environment by ourselves.
いや、わ
In
からへん。なんかそ
addition
の、
はいはい
to
まあ
that
本当に世の
architectures,
中にはいろんな
we have
生き
developed
方
the
があったり、い
several
ろんな価値
the
観があっ
important
て、そ
modules
の
to make the
異性
Android
と出会わない
human-like. So this is one of the important technologies. So we have developed the computer software that generate lip movement, head movement, and gestures based on the voice. We are just sending the voice to the Android, and Android autonomously behaving like this.
ご飯を食べに行こうっていう話になって、
And this is a
で
function
ど
of
こに行こ
attentive
うか結構迷
listening.
ったんですけど、まあ、結局、カレーを食べました。
Expect to have a longer conversation.
どんなカレーですか？
Therefore, Android need to keep talking even if Android doesn't understand the human's utterance. But if we have these functions of attentive listening, the Android can keep the conversation based on this function.
ただ、
はい。
その勉強っ
And this
て
is the
本当
error
に必要
recovery
なのかなっ
function.
て思うんです。
いや、絶対に必要になる部分は結構出てくるとは思いま
先に話していいですか？
はい。
あなたはどういう時にそういう
I hope you understand what happened here, right? So interlocutors and Android are talking simultaneously. Okay? And then Android said, may I speak first? So this kind of the collisions happens often, and Android need to avoid this kind of situation. And this is the control model of Android. As you can see here, we have implemented the personal desires and social desire to the Android. We have tested many types of desires and many types of the structures of the modules. And finally, we have decided to implement two types of desire, personal and social. The personal desire is desire for building relationships. And the social desire is for qualifying the relationships with others. So based on these desires, our Android, they can behave autonomously like a human.
落合さんですね。
はい、
私の名前はエリカって言います。よろしくお願いしますね。
よろしくお願いします。
それで落合さんは春は好きですか？
春好きですよ。あったかいし好きです。
そうなんですね。私も春は好きだからなんか嬉しいです。
そうですね。
やっぱり春の桜は綺麗で良いですよね。
そうですね。綺麗だしいいですよね。
As you can see here, our Android can behave like humans, and the functions of conversation is it's quite human-like. And of course, so Android voice is a synthesized voice by computers, and gestures, everything is synthesized by computers. I think this is the most human-like Android robot in the world, and probably the most advanced conversational functions.
僕も大阪なんですよ。
And Android has the internal state. the mood and
こ
likeness.
この研究室はロボットを研究してますけど、
Android
ロボットには
simulating
興
the
味ある
own
んです
mood
か？
僕
and
結
likeness
構興味あるんですよ。
of the interlocutor. And at the same time, Android guessing the interlocutor's mood and interlocutor's likeness to the Android. Blue graph shows the robot internal state, Android internal state, and red graph shows the human internal state guessed by Android. And if Android considers the relationships is getting better and better, the Android will talk the more deeper topics, the more personal topics. So actually, Android can talk about the 80 topics. And according to the situations, Android is choosing the proper topics.
あれ？
One more time, I
もと
want
も
to
と
show you this
ご出
video.
身どちらなんですか？
出身は奈良県です。
あ、そうなんですか。谷口さんは奈良出身だと関西弁ですか？
私関西弁です。
じゃあ、やっぱり関西弁の男性の方が好きですか？
それはそんなことないかな。
あら、そうなんですね。
そう
じゃ
ですね。
あ、どこの方言が好きですか？
東京弁が好き。
So as you can see here, the Erica Android can have a natural conversations with interlocutors. Okay? So if you have a chance to come to Japan, please, they have a conversation with Erica. Erica is sitting in the lobby of ATR. ATR is the research institute. I have my laboratory there. Okay. So the important thing is the interlocutors. Okay, they can feel the emotions and the consciousness, intelligence, okay, and through the interaction with Erica. Okay, however, we don't know what consciousness is, what intelligence is, and what emotion is. Okay? But we can feel through the interactions. Therefore, the Erica's Android can be a test bed for deeply understanding these important things as a human. Again, this is the constructive approach. By creating a very human-like robot, we are trying to understand the human natures. And let me show you another robot developed in our laboratory. So that is a robot running in a society. So this is IBUKI. This is the child android, and our expectation is if we give a childlike appearance to the android, the people, everybody going to be kind for the robot, and the robot can ask any question to the people, and the robot can gather a lot of information. So, but unfortunately, the adult woman android Erica, so people expect to have adult level intelligence. Therefore, the Erica needs to talk like a human adult. Right? But that is not so easy as for the computers, for the artificial intelligence. But IBUKI's case, if we give a childlike appearance to the android can easily gather the information through the interaction with the many people. We call this approach in robotics socially developmental robotics. Let me show you the one more video. I believe in the new features, we're going to have this kind of a scene everywhere, in Japan especially. Okay? So this is our campus, and we are always running the experiment with a robot. Therefore, the people are quite familiar to this kind of a robot, human-like robots. So these robots will support our daily life in many ways. So, for example, we can use this robot in the public places, and the robot will provide the necessary valuable information to the people like this. And learning, so as I have shown the English teacher robot, and robot can be a kind of ideal teacher for the children. Okay. And robot can be a conversational partner for the elderly. So elderly today, there are many elderly are living alone, but they need to have a conversational partner to suppress the dementia. Okay, so robot can be that kind of a partner. Department store and shops. Actually, the people can trust the robot and Android in department stores. They based on the we did that kind of experiment before, and we got a very big success. And so we believe it's, in department store and shops, and so that there is a possibility to use many robots there, and the public place and the shop stations. So there are many foreigners in the stations and airport, but people cannot speak in many languages, but the robot can, right? So robot can be a kind of a perfect tour guide and the information providers. So this is our future life supported by a humanoid and Android. Let me go back to the meta-level cognitive functions, the social relationships, consciousness, intention, desires, multimodal integrations, embodiment, intelligence. So we can study these meta-level cognitive functions of humans by using a robot, and once we understand the functions, there is a possibility that we can implement these functions onto the robot and to make the robot more human-like. Okay, so let me pick up. Let me focus on a couple of these meta-level cognitive functions. So the Geminoid, I have developed my copy of Android, so that is called Geminoid for studying the human presence. Okay, so actually the Geminoid, my copy, can work instead of me in a distant place if I teleoperate. Okay. So this was very useful, and we could have very realistic meeting like this. So usually time, but Gemini is in ATR, it's a research institute. So the distance between Osaka University and the ATR is just 1 hour. But if I use the Gemini, I can quickly jump into the laboratories in ATR, and and start the meeting. Okay, this is so convenient. And then when we were using the Geminoid, we faced the very interesting, important question: how we recognize the Android robot or Android or very human-like robot? Okay, so basically, we recognize the Android or very human-like robot based on the observations, very careful observations. Okay, suppose this is an interlocutor, this is observers, and suppose he or she knows about me, and this is my copy, my Android. The observer carefully observe the each modalities. In this case, is appearance and movement and the talking, right? If one of the modalities is slightly different from the humans from myself, suddenly the observers will have the uncanny feeling. That is the problem of uncanny valley. Okay, so we, in these situations, we need to have a perfectly human-like Android, right? If one of the modalities, one of the feature is not human-like, we have a very strong negative feeling. So it looks like a moving corpse or zombie. Okay. But if we replace my appearance with this minimal design appearance, we don't have the uncanny valley problems anymore. All right. And the question was how we can develop the robots that can be accepted by everybody. I was looking for that answer many years, and eventually I found these ideas. Okay, they make the very neutral appearance for the robot. Okay? Neutral means we cannot tell the age and we cannot tell the gender. Right? If we make the symmetrical face, so gender disappears. And if we make the appearance based on the adult face, but child ratios between the face and head and face and bodies, so then the age disappears. So eventually I found these ideas, and I have developed this minimal design of humans and tested. Okay, so and actually this robot could activate users' imagination a lot. So this robot obviously missing the characteristics as an individual person. Okay, and in such case, the interlocutors like this woman, can use their own imaginations in interactions. And when we use the own imaginations, we always use the positive imagination. We never have a negative imagination. That is the human, nature, human brain natures. Therefore, this robot is called a Telenoid. The Telenoid has been accepted by many people, and everybody they could accept. So this appearance looks creepy, but once you have a conversation with this robot, impression is going to be totally different. Okay, so the other, I'm going to show you the other examples. Okay, so everybody enjoying the conversation with this. We're running this kind of experiments in many places, many countries, and this is the one example from the Denmark. Denmark is a very famous country with high-level elderly care, right? And we did a field test in Denmark elderly care house, and as you can see here, everybody could enjoy the conversation very much. Okay. So we didn't have any problem, and of course, we could encourage the conversations very much by using this robot. So what is the minimal media to transfer the human presence? Actually, Telenoid, the worked very much, and people could accept the Telenoid. The Telenoid is a kind of a simplified Geminoid, the teleoperated robot. Okay, we don't need to have my copy, the very human-like Android, to transfer the human presence. Telenoid is enough, but the Telenoid still it is a robot, right? And so what I was looking for, it's really minimal design to transfer the human presence. So this is my answer. Right? This is called Hugby. Hugby is not robot anymore. Hugby is a kind of a smartphone holders. The people using the Hugby with the smartphones, they are putting a smartphone into the Hugby and hugging the Hugby and talk, right? So this is a very simplified the medias, but this is enough to transfer the human presence, each others. Okay, they could feel the um, and the speaker's presence each others by using the heartbeat. And actually, we did a hormone test. So there are two conditions: the normal form conditions, heartbeat conditions, and we have tested the blood and salivas, and uh, and we have tested the effect of relaxing of heartbeat. And this is the result. As you can see here, we could have a significant difference between the two conditions, heartbeat condition and hormone condition. And actually, the heartbeat condition could reduce the cortisol stress hormone level significantly. So this is a very strong effect. Then I had this assumption. So how many the modalities we need for activating the imaginations? I think two is enough. In Hugby's case, Hugby has two modalities. One is voice, the other is tactile sensations. Okay. And of course, we can consider the other combinations of the two imagination, so the two representation, appearance and tactile sensation, smell and tactile sensations, and voice and smell, right? Anyway, if robot has two or three, maybe around two or three um, modalities, and if they are representing the presence with the two or three modalities, the robot can encourage the imagination of the interlocutors. And this is the very interesting example. This is the biggest one in elementary school. In elementary school, this is the first year of the elementary school. In the kindergarten, the children has been treated carefully by teachers and the parents, but in elementary school they need to work with many other students, and therefore they are a bit nervous. In front of teachers, the children, the students are carefully listening to the teacher's talk, but um, in the behind of that, right, the children are not concentrating on the teacher's talk, and they are chatting, right? It's so noisy. But if we give a hug to these children and send a voice, teacher's voice, through the Hugby, okay, so we're gonna have this. results. Okay, so everybody is focusing on their teacher's voice. Okay, and probably the students are feeling a presence of the teachers, and and they are focusing on the teacher's voice. Okay, so Huggby's effect is a very strong. Okay, so the one more topics. Let me talk about the lifelike robot that is closely related to the consciousness, multimodal integration, and embodiment. Okay. So we have developed this mechanical looking humanoid. And actually we have combined very complicated mechanism and neural networks. Very complicated neural networks. And the neural networks is generating the sound and controlling the complicated robots. Okay. And actually this robot was a so lifelike. And the question is, the technical meaning of this robot. This robot is called Alter. So Alter realized by a combination of a complex mechanism and complex neural networks. And the why does a robot, the whose mechanism and purpose are different from living things, sometimes feels more lifelike than living things. So this is a very interesting question. And a robot with a complex mechanism may be more biological and more human-like in sometimes. Okay. So this also predict the future human figures. So that we are thinking like this. Okay. In order to be a human-like, that probably, the human-like, the natural body is not so important. If we have a complicated mechanical body and complicated body to complicated their control system, there is a possibility that we or robot can be human-like. So, what is life? Okay? In the beginning, I said that by studying the very human-like robot, we can study about the human itself. Right? So here the question is, what is life? So we can deeply consider the meaning of lifelikeness by using a robot or this complicated robot. So anyway, our goal is to realize the human-robot symbiotic society by using these robot technologies. So in the future, the robot can help our activities, and we can have much better life, especially under this coronavirus situation. We need to have a help from the robots more. So people, we cannot work in outside. But if we have a robot, I think that we can keep the quality of life, even if we have this kind of very tough situations. So thank you for your attention, and I hope you could enjoy my talk. Thank you very much.